When last we heard from Jason Aldean, the country singer, he was facing a lot of criticism over his latest song. We were told it was racist and it celebrated violence and vigilantism. So he's on a concert tour right now. Let's take a look at his latest concert and let's see what the crowd was doing there in the parking lot. We got some video. All right, well, that's about right. We actually have one of the friends of our show, Matt Foldi, political reporter over the Spectator, who was at that concert. And that looks like it was down, what, Louisville, Kentucky, maybe Birmingham, Alabama? Where was that, Matt?
Yeah, look, you would think based on the "Let's Go Brandon" chants and the American flags that you were in the Deep South or at least a conservative part of the country. But this was in Howard County, Maryland. This is a rapidly bluing suburb and in a deep blue state. And I felt like I could have been in Alabama.
Yeah.
And the crowd right from the beginning was raucous and wildly pro-America. And one thing that I noticed was while Bud Light was for sale, no one was drinking it. And this, I think, is kind of a symbol of the larger thing that was going on here is you see conservatives and really just normal people flexing a lot of muscle, right? They won't buy Bud Light. But now there's a lot of putting their money where their mouth is and sending, try that in a small town, which I admit I hadn't listened to. I wanted to hear it live for the first time and make my own judgment. And let me say, there is nothing wrong with this song whatsoever. Unless you're totally deranged, there's no way of reading anything into this that's problematic in the slightest.
And this is in Columbia, Maryland. Right? I mean, people will call it a suburb of D.C. More accurately, it's a suburb of Baltimore. And it was full of American-loving patriots. Can we take a look at the footage again of the concert? Is this your footage, Foldi, that you took at the concert?
Yes, fully licensed to use it as always.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I got it. Wow, who do you know that you had such great seats there? That's really impressive.
Yeah, well, look, I looked it up. The Merriweather Post Pavilion can fit 19,700 people, and we were back in the lawn.
Yeah.
But there was not a spot of grass visible on the lawn. It looked to me like every seat was taken.
And it was like 100 degrees yesterday in town, and it looks like it was just a jam-packed, loud, raucous, drunken evening.
Yeah, so it was a great evening.
All right. By the way,
celebrating things that you want. It was fun. And my take on this is Jason Aldean tried it in a mid-sized town, right?
Yeah.
And it worked.
Well, you weren't the only one having a loud, crowded, raucous, drunken evening. Let's turn our sights to Capitol Hill, where apparently Congressman Van Orden of Wisconsin is being publicly shamed by a reporter for having, well, let's see, a bunch of alcohol in Van Orden's office. Van Orden and staff were heard partying loudly before he cursed out a group of teenage Senate pages. I don't know about you, Matt Foldi. You've been reporting on Capitol Hill for a while. I, for one, am shocked to learn that congressmen are drinking beers in their office.
This is actually the thing that kind of radicalizes me about this. And I've been on the show talking in the past about how Capitol Hill was closed when Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer were running the show, right? So the nerve of a Capitol Hill reporter to basically narc on Van Orden welcoming constituents into his office after every single Capitol Hill-based outlet refused to cover that Democrats were not showing up to work it shows you how basically deranged our press corps is, that their priorities are, oh, this office is open to constituents. Van Orden is a Wisconsin congressman. The last time I checked in Wisconsin, they eat beer and drink cheese.
Yeah, they wait, I think it's the other way around.
I'm not even sure. I don't even think it is the other way around in Wisconsin.
They do like their beer in Wisconsin. Governor Scott Walker of Wisconsin was sort of making some jokes about this too. Ron Johnson, the senator from Wisconsin, put out a video of him chugging a beer in 3 seconds. And I think reinforcements have been delivered to Congressman Van Orden's office earlier today. There you go. From Georgia, in fact, from Representative Mike Collins. And isn't Van Orden, isn't he a former Navy SEAL? I mean, do you think he cares about any of this?
I actually know that he doesn't care, but just to kind of remind everyone also how horrible the press corps is, I was covering yesterday the House Foreign Affairs hearing on Afghanistan withdrawal. And first off, there were no more than 3 Democrats there the entire time. There were 0 Capitol Hill reporters. at this hearing. The reason I bring this up
Wow.
is because Derek Van Orden was in that hearing talking about how he, as a military leader, has had men in his command die in his arms. And apparently that's not what Derek Van Orden news should
Yeah,
be.
that's not worthy of
Wisconsin
covering,
congressman is drinking beer.
but having constituents in his office drinking beer, that's what's newsworthy. Well, perfectly said. Thank you, Matt Foldi. Appreciate you. And I'm glad that you're, awake and not hungover from last night. That's it for tonight. We'll be back Monday, same time, same place. Keep it here on Salem News Channel.